With more on Premier Ford backtracking on opening the Greenbelt development, let's bring in political analyst Keith Leslie, who joins us now live. Keith, quite simply, why now?
Well, I guess that's the real question, isn't it? Premier Ford, what took you so long? I mean, it became very obvious the minute we had those two reports from the Auditor General and the Integrity Commissioner condemning this government's process for opening up those Greenbelt lands and showing that it made, it was going to profit some people to the point of billions and billions of dollars. It was obvious from then the only way out of this for the Ford government was to backtrack, to reverse course and say, we're putting those lands back into the Greenbelt and we're not going to touch it again. Why it took them this long, I don't know. Perhaps it was because the second cabinet minister resigned, and this one about, his biggest vacation with some developer and massages and all that, it just raised more of a stink. And I think at this point, the government just went, you know what? We can't keep riding this out. The legislature is going to resume on Monday. We're going to get our butts handed to us. Let's reverse course now and at least try and start fresh when the legislature resumes.
He said the right words, the words everyone wanted to hear, but is his apology enough?
Well, it's probably enough to stop the mass protests that the government's been facing. I mean, all over the place. We saw those turnouts of those meetings in Ancaster about the Greenbelt. The people just didn't even want to cooperate with the government on this. So I think it might stop that, but it's not stopped the accusations of corruption. And there's still an awful lot of questions about this whole Greenbelt process. It's going to keep the NDP and the Liberals and the Green Party attacking this government on everything about their trustworthiness. How can we trust you now? The government clearly should have acted much sooner. It would have a much better chance of restoring some trustworthiness. Right now, they're just going to take it on the chin for days and days to come yet.
So let's pick up on what you just said. Last month, the RCMP said it's probing the Ford government's handling of the Greenbelt. What happens with that now?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. The Mounties are never very open about what they're doing, but we have to remember the OPP handed them a file, and the OPP declared we have a conflict of interest, which we don't know what it was, and they've handed that to the RCMP. So that's going to hang over the government for quite some time until the RCMP either publicly declares they're not having an investigation or they say they are launching one, which will be even worse for the government. The other thing to watch for right now is lawsuits from these developers that are now not going to make those billions of dollars in profits that they had been expecting. They didn't do anything wrong in their eyes, so they're going to be looking for some sort of compensation. If they don't get it from the government and from taxpayers, they're probably going to launch lawsuits.
So certainly not the last we've heard on this topic. Thank you so much, Keith. That's political analyst Keith Leslie.
Thank you.